Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited. It's a first-class book, very much in keeping with what Elgar produced. They're a family business, independent, and they produce very high-quality work for us as researchers, commentators and practitioners in the legal field. We only review books which are of a very high quality. We give high number of stars to them because our view is that people should know of the availability of these books for their own particular purposes. And we couldn't really do our work today without help from the main legal publishers, and of course Elgar are one of the leading publication companies around who assist us. So thank you very much to all concerned at Elgar. Can I say that this book that we're looking at is called, it's this book here, it's the Research Handbook on the Economics of Insurance Law. It's been edited, so there are contributors, edited by Daniel Schwartz and Peter Siegelman. I hope I pronounced the names correctly. It's available as a hardback and as an e-book, and it's also available electronically with the Elgar Online system, which I'll show you a little bit about in a moment. This is part of what is called the Research Handbooks in Law and Economics series from Elgar, and it's an important point to make because when Elizabeth and I were talking about this review, we've given it a generic title, another brilliant best friend from Edward Elgar, who are renowned for their research handbooks, because they are, these are high quality academic works and extremely valuable for your own perhaps niche area of law. In a moment, we've only got a short review, but in a moment or two I'll just explain a little bit about the book. Let's have a look. It's a hardback. It's quite a heavy book actually. You can see the front cover there, then you can see the spine, and then at the back you can see some detail. This is, as I say, a research handbook from the Law and Economics series. There are a number of series by Elgar, and the series editors are Richard A. Posner and Francesco Parisi. This is the book, as I say, it's quite heavy, a hardback. It runs to 500 odd pages in total. The index at the back, that is actually constructed with page numbers, not paragraph numbers, so you should be able to find things pretty quickly. And you can see the structure there. There's the index. Then we go right into the actual back of the book. And what we do have here is quite a substantial, for each chapter, quite a substantial amount of reference material. The way this book is organised is that the references are at the back of each chapter. So you have a conclusion. You'll normally have an introduction and the meat of the contribution in the chapter. Then you've got at the end the actual all the information alphabetically for the referencing. Now if we go to the front, this is the Research Handbook series in this area of substantive law and economics. Then there you've got the front page itself. Then after that you have the information about the online side, which is there if you're looking for that. Then you've got the structure of the book. There is a short introduction, and there's a note on the contributors, all of whom are named in the individual chapters. So part 1, why and how do individuals purchase insurance? Part 2, the role of the state in insurance markets. Part 3, insurance regulation. Part 4, courts and insurance. 15 chapters in total. There's the second page. And this is a very short set of notes about the contributors. Sometimes there's a lot more, but there's not a great deal on the contributors. Large number of them, of course, the second page. Then we get into the introduction by the two editors, which is worth looking. And I'll just read the bit right at the beginning, which gives you some indication. Insurance law and insurance economics each have long and distinguished scholarly histories, but participants in the two disciplines have not always communicated well across academic silos. This is really where the book comes in, so that's their little sales tag at the beginning. As a result, legal analysis of insurance tends to ignore or simplify the economic implications of doctrinal rules and regulatory approaches, and then it develops the argument from there. The introduction is actually quite long, and then there's a little conclusion at the back. You can see immediately that there are footnotes at the bottom. And then we go into the main, there's part 1 there. Why and how do individuals purchase insurance? Then you've got the introduction. There's no paragraph numbering as such, but what you do have is you have the actual subheads. Now there are, as I've indicated, there's some footnoting, and you'd be pleased to hear not too much of it. Sometimes there's more than others, because for instance you've got some here, you've got various little formula, so that there's a certain amount of in fact very useful justification for the points being made. And you do of course have a bit of case law, which is quite useful, looking specifically at case studies concerning some of the problem areas that have developed. There is of course no index though to the cases that have been reported. For instance, this one is McGain and H&H Music Company is a group health insurance policy for a man who contracted AIDS. Now you can see again it's quite useful, because whilst you've got the academic element, you've also again got useful case information specifically about the leading authorities. So that's the book there. As I said, it's a heavy book. And what do we say about the book? Well, not a great deal in this review. It's a very useful book in the insurance world, law of insurance world. But what we're saying is that insurance law and insurance economics each have long and distinguished scholarly histories, but participants in the two disciplines have not always communicated well across the academic silos, which is exactly what, of course, is said as the opening salvo in the book. But what the two authors have done, this is Schwartz and Seligman, or rather Siegelman, I must pronounce the name correctly, I do apologise if I've not pronounced the names correctly, Schwartz and Siegelman. They've created an excellent handbook here, which encourages more policy-relevant insurance economics scholarship and more economically sophisticated legal scholarship by joining together original contributions from the leading scholars in the insurance world, covering insurance law, both law and economics, on a range of issues involving both law and regulation. So they brought them all together within the research handbook context. And if I conclude by saying, as usual, Elgar offer the very best in legal research materials for the student, the postgraduate, and the dedicated researcher, with their high quality publications. And I suspect people will find this quite interesting as practitioners as well. Let's just have one quick look at it again. There's the front, and then there's the spine, and then there's the back. And there are some quotes from commentators, and as is the case with this, it is part of a whole series of these excellent research handbooks. We can't really do without these books in the academic world, and certainly I think it's extremely helpful to have this sort of publication available. Let's deal with one area that's extremely important. This is chapter 7 on US healthcare reform. Probably the great legacy of President Obama. And it starts off, the US Congress passed and President Obama signed the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act in March 2010. Now it's a while ago, I'm recording this in 2015, it's a while ago, but you can see that from that, the researches that are coming out of that are going to have very profound impacts on American society. There's a very large amount of coverage, a lot of very substantial detail, but I'm pointing that out specifically as an area which I think readers will find helpful. I'd like to thank Elgar and all the people involved in this for a really excellent book. It's a great addition to your research library, and as I say, the handbooks which Elgar produce are very, very high quality books indeed. They're the leaders in the field without any doubt. So thank you to all, and bye bye for now. Bye.